Okay, let me describe a game to you. 22 grown men chase a ball around a field for 90 minutes. Most of that time, nothing happens, or not much at least. They pass it sideways, they pass it backwards, someone falls over and pretends he's being shot, and then maybe once or twice in the entire match the ball goes into a net. And for that, hundreds of millions of people will rearrange their lives. They'll skip work, they'll cry, they'll scream at a television, they'll argue with strangers online for days, and some of them will literally get into fist fights in a parking lot over 22 guys and a ball. Now you could call that stupid, a lot of people do, but I want to make a different argument today. I want to argue that football might be one of the most perfectly engineered dopamine machines humans have ever accidentally invented. And once you understand why, you're never going to watch a match the same way again. Let's go. So here's where almost everyone starts, and it's wrong. People think dopamine is the pleasure chemical, the reward, the little hit of happiness you get when something good happens, right? So score a goal, get a squirt of dopamine, feel great. Simple. Except that's not what dopamine actually does. Dopamine isn't about pleasure. Dopamine is about prediction. So back in the 90s, a neuroscientist named Wolfram Schultz was recording from individual dopamine neurons in monkeys. He'd give the monkey a little squirt of juice, a reward, and watch the neurons fire. And yeah, at first the dopamine spiked when the juice arrived. Classic reward, right? But then he did something clever. He started playing a tone before the juice. Tone, then juice. Tone, then juice. Over and over and over. And after a while, the dopamine stopped firing for the juice. It moved. It started firing for the tone, for the prediction, for the moment the brain went, aha, good thing incoming. And the juice itself, well, once it was predictable, the dopamine system basically yawned. Yeah, we knew that was coming. So write this down, because this is actually the whole video. Dopamine doesn't track reward. It tracks the gap between what you expected and what you got. So scientists call that gap the reward prediction error. Let me make this stupidly simple. Your brain is all day, every day, making predictions. Tiny ones, constant ones. What's going to happen next, right? And then reality shows up and your brain compares. Three things can happen. One, reality matches the prediction, and you expected the sandwich, you got a sandwich. Dopamine stays flat, actually. No signal, it's boring. Two, reality is worse than predicted. So you expected a sandwich, the kitchen's closed, dopamine drops below baseline. That dip, that disappointment, that's the gut punch. And three, reality is better than expected. You weren't expecting much and then boom, something amazing. Dopamine spikes, and that spike is your brain screaming, whatever just happened, remember it, do it again, chase it. So the size of your reward response isn't about how good the thing is. It's about how surprising it is. A goal you saw coming from a mile away? Nice. A goal out of absolutely nowhere in the 89th minute when your team was dead and buried? That's not nice. That's a neurochemical event. That's the kind of memory people remember for 30 years and describe like it was the birth of their first child. Same goal, same 2 points on the scoreboard, but completely different brain experiences. The surprise is the drug. So if surprise drives the dopamine response, what's the ideal amount of surprise? You'd think a guaranteed reward would feel best. But it doesn't. Schultz and his colleagues ran another experiment. They varied the probability of the reward. Sometimes the monkey would get juice 100% of the time after the cue, and sometimes 0%, and sometimes somewhere in the middle. And they found something that should make every casino owner very, very happy. The dopamine response was biggest, not when the reward was certain. It peaked when the odds were right around 50-50. Maximum uncertainty, when the brain genuinely could not predict what was about to happen. A coin flip is the most dopaminergic thing in the world. This is the entire business model of a slot machine. A slot machine doesn't pay out every time. That would be boring. You'd habituate, right? You'd leave. And it doesn't pay out never. Obviously, it pays out unpredictably. Sometimes, maybe, you never know. And that maybe keeps your dopamine system absolutely pinned to the ceiling, pulling the lever again and again and again. We call this a variable ratio reward schedule, and it is the single most addictive reinforcement pattern we know of. Slot machines run on it, social media runs on it, your phone runs on it, and here's the punchline: football runs on it too. Now let me show you why football specifically is built like a slot machine. Because not every game is. It comes down to one thing. In football, the result lies. You can have a team with 70% of the possession, 25 shots, camped in the opponent's half for 90 minutes, attacking wave after wave after wave. By every single measure of who actually played better, it's not even close. And then there's this one counter-attack, one long ball, one breakaway, one goal completely against a run of play, 1-0. The team that played better goes home. And that's the part that makes football special. The result is disconnected from the performance. You can dominate completely and lose. You can play badly and win. And the reason is that goals are rare. A typical match has 2 or 3 goals total, sometimes 0. And because the scoring is so low, the result never gets the chance to reflect who actually deserved it. There's no sample size. There are just 2 or 3 moments, and any of them can come out of nowhere and decide everything. The deflection of a defender's shin, a goalkeeper who slips, a shot that hits the post and bounces out instead of in. 3 centimeters deciding the entire match. And that gap between who played better and who actually won is the slot machine. Because no matter how closely you watch, no matter how well you read the game, you cannot reliably predict the result from the play. The uncertainty doesn't shrink. It can't. It's baked into the sport. You can watch a football match perfectly and still, right up the final whistle, have no idea. And your dopamine system cannot get enough of no idea. Here's the cruelest part though. Remember the shot that hits the post and bounces out? The header that goes just over the bar? The "oh" that the entire stadium makes in one voice? Well, your brain barely distinguishes a near miss from a win. Studies on gambling show that almost winning lights up a lot of the same reward circuitry as actual winning. The brain treats the near miss as a signal. You were so close. The reward is right there. Keep going. It's not a consolation, it's an accelerant. It cranks the tension higher instead of releasing it. And football is 90 minutes of near misses. The whole sport is a slow build of almost and almost and almost, punctuated by these rare explosive resolutions. It's tension and release, engineered, completely by accident actually, over 100 years to keep your nervous system absolutely hooked. And here's the thing, this isn't just trivia about football. This reward prediction system is running your whole life, your habits, your motivation, your cravings, why you chase some things and avoid others. It's all the same machinery. Understanding how it works and how to actually work with it is one of the things we teach in our Brain Coach certification program. So if this stuff lights you up, if you're thinking about becoming a brain coach yourself, well, check out the link in the description. Okay, let's go back to football now. So that explains the obsession, the staying up till 3 a.m., the chasing the next match. That's dopamine, prediction error, uncertainty. But it doesn't explain the fighting. It doesn't explain why 2 reasonable adults will scream at each other over a team they'll never play for in a city they don't live in. For that, we have to leave dopamine for a second and talk about the oldest software running in your head, belonging. Your brain is above everything else a social survival machine. For most of human history, being part of the group was the single most important thing for staying alive. Cast out of the tribe, you died. It was game over. So your brain treats group membership as a survival level concern. Being part of an us, having a tribe, and modern life, be honest, has kind of stripped that away. So we don't live in villages anymore. We don't share a fire. A lot of people are, on a deep level, tribeless. And a football club hands you a tribe, instantly, pre-assembled, like with colors, a song, a history, 100,000 brothers and sisters you've never met but would die on a hill for "we won" or "we lost." Not them, we. So when someone insults your team, Your brain doesn't process it as a comment about sport. It processes it as a threat to your tribe, an attack on the us. And the brain defends the tribe the same way it would defend the village, with the survival circuitry, with the heat, with the fists sometimes. It's not really about the ball, it never was. The ball is just a totem the tribe gathers around. Now zoom out, because I don't know when you're watching this, but the World Cup is here. 48 nations, the biggest version of this we've ever staged. And you can see it now for what it really is, right? It's a month-long, planet-wide dopamine event. Maximum unpredictability. Anyone can beat anyone over 90 minutes. Rare explosive goals, each one a massive prediction error. Endless near misses, keeping the entire species leaning forward. And on top of all of it, the most powerful belonging signal we have. A whole nation fused into a single we, all feeling the exact same surge at the exact same second. 2 billion people, one shared nervous system, all hooked to the same slot machine. So the next time someone tells you football is just 22 guys running after a ball, well, they're right. Mechanically, that's exactly what it is. But your brain was never watching the ball. Your brain was watching the maybe. And the maybe is the most addictive thing in the world. Enjoy the World Cup, people. Try to get some sleep, but before you go, I want to hear from you. What's the most painful, most undeserved defeat your team has ever put you through? The one that still stings years later. Drop it in the comments. Let's suffer together. And if you like this, if you're never going to watch a match the same way again, hit like and subscribe. More brain science you can actually use every week. And if you want to go deeper and use this in your own life, in your work, or to help others, come check us out at brainacademy.com. Brain out.
Sharpen your mind.